If irony were a drink, I'd be drunk by now. I came to celebrate my best friend's engagement only to fall for his older brother. And not just fall. I crashed, burned, and never climbed out of the wreckage. The night started like any other suburban fairy tale. White tents, golden fairy lights, glasses clinking, and laughter so loud it almost drowned out the sound of my own heartbeat. Almost, because when Evan Parker walked into the backyard in that navy shirt, sleeves rolled up, tie hanging loose, looking every bit like trouble in human form, everything else blurred. Evan wasn't supposed to be here. He lived across the country, too busy with his corporate life in Seattle to care about small-town celebrations. But there he was back in Massachusetts, smirking like the world had never broken him. My heart didn't stand a chance. "Liam, you made it!" my best friend, Noah, yelled, hugging me tight. His engagement ring glinted under the fairy lights, mocking me with its symbolism of love, commitment, and all the things I'd never have. Not with Evan. I smiled, muttering something like, "Of course," while trying not to stare over Noah's shoulder, but I failed. Evan was watching. The kind of watching that made you forget your own name. That slow, deliberate gaze that stripped you bare, even in a crowd. It had been 5 years since I last saw him. 5 years since the summer I turned 18, and he'd caught me sneaking a beer from his fridge. 5 years since he'd ruffled my hair, laughed, and said, "You're just a kid, Liam." Well, I wasn't a kid anymore. Dinner blurred into music. Laughter spilled like wine across the lawn. I kept trying to blend in, to look anywhere but him. But fate, or maybe bad luck, had other plans. When Noah got pulled away by guests, Evan appeared beside me, holding 2 glasses of champagne. "You still don't drink, huh?" he said with that teasing smirk that had no business still being this charming. I shrugged, trying to stay out of trouble. His smile deepened, the kind that made it hard to breathe. "You always did look good avoiding it." The tension between us was silent but loud enough to drown out the music. Every second he looked at me felt dangerous, like walking barefoot on broken glass. But I didn't care. I was already bleeding. "You've changed," he murmured, his voice low, intimate. "So have you," I replied. "You used to smile more." Something flickered in his eyes, regret. Maybe pain. Yeah, life does that. And just like that, we weren't at an engagement party anymore. We were in our own world, one built on glances and half-swallowed words. The kind of world that only existed between 2 people pretending not to feel too much. Later that night, the crowd thinned. Fireflies floated above the grass. Music softened into a slow jazz tune, the kind that makes you want to confess things you shouldn't. I found myself by the pool, watching reflections ripple under the moonlight. I didn't expect him to follow, but he did. "You always run away when things get real," he said softly behind me. I turned. "And you always show up when I finally move on." He chuckled, stepping closer until his shadow blended with mine. Guess we're both bad at timing. There it was, that dangerous space between us, pulsing with everything unspoken. I wanted to say something, anything, but all I could do was stare at him, the way his eyes darkened when he looked at me. The way his voice softened like he was afraid of breaking something fragile between us. "Evan." My voice cracked. He didn't let me finish. His hand brushed mine, a simple, trembling touch that felt like an explosion. "Don't," he whispered. "Not tonight." But I couldn't stop. "Why did you come back?" He hesitated, eyes flickering toward the glowing tent where laughter still echoed. "Because Noah asked me to. And because I couldn't stay away anymore." The world stilled. My heart forgot how to beat. That night, under the ghostly light of the moon and the faraway hum of celebration, we finally stopped pretending. He kissed me. It wasn't wild or desperate. It was quiet, the kind of kiss that felt like a confession, an apology, and a promise all at once. His hand trembled against my cheek, and I realized just how long he'd been holding this in too. When he pulled back, he didn't look away. "I've thought about this," he admitted, voice breaking. "Every day since you left. I wanted to laugh. Or cry. Maybe both. And yet you're the one getting married." He froze, and I saw the truth in his eyes before he said it. "It's not me," he whispered. It's Noah. My chest tightened. You mean, yeah. He cut in, his voice shaking. Your best friend. My little brother. And that's when I knew we were standing on the edge of something we could never come back from. The air went still, like even the night itself was holding its breath. My mind spun, trying to process what he'd just said, that the man standing in front of me, the one who kissed me like I was oxygen, was also the brother of the person I was supposed to be celebrating. You're kidding, I whispered, but Evan didn't smile. He just stared, raw honesty flickering in his eyes like a confession too long buried. Liam, I didn't plan this, he said. I came here to support Noah. I didn't know you'd be here. I didn't know he stopped, swallowing hard. That I'd still feel this way. I took a shaky breath, half laughing in disbelief. Still feel what? Evan? Guilt? Regret? He stepped closer, his voice rough. Love. The word hit me like thunder. Before I could reply, someone called our names from across the yard. We jerked apart. The lights from the tent painted golden shapes across Evan's face, softening the lines of fear that crept there. Noah's fiancée, Claire, waved from the distance, smiling, blissfully unaware that her engagement party was now a battlefield of secrets. Evan leaned close, his whisper trembling against my ear. Meet me behind the barn after everyone leaves. And just like that, he was gone. Hours crawled by. I laughed when people laughed, toasted when they toasted, smiled when my heart was collapsing under the weight of what I felt. When the last guests left and Noah disappeared inside with Claire, I slipped out into the dark. The barn stood quiet under the stars, the grass wet with dew. He was already there, leaning against the old wooden door, tie gone, shirt slightly wrinkled, human, tired, beautiful. You came, he said softly. Of course I did. There was no pretense now, no crowd, no excuses. Just the two of us and the sound of our own breathing. He moved closer until our foreheads touched. I shouldn't want this, he murmured. You're my brother's best friend. And you're engaged. His hands trembled as they found mine. To someone I respect, not someone I love. My heart ached. That's not fair to her. I know. His voice cracked. But it's not fair to you either, pretending like I don't want to be with you. Like I haven't wanted you for years. Tears burned behind my eyes. Then what are we supposed to do, Evan? He looked at me for a long moment, and for the first time, I saw the truth behind all that confidence. Fear, love, regret. The storm that had been building between us for years. Tell me to walk away, he whispered. And I will. Couldn't. I didn't. Because no matter how wrong this was, no part of me wanted to be free from him. Instead, I reached up and kissed him, desperate, aching, real. His hands framed my face, his body trembling like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. The kiss deepened, soft and wild, like the stars themselves had leaned closer to listen. When we finally pulled apart, his forehead pressed to mine, he said, if I end this engagement, it'll destroy my family. And if you don't? I asked. He smiled sadly. It'll destroy me. The next morning I packed my bag. I couldn't stay, not after what we'd done. Not with the guilt eating me alive. But before I could leave, Noah found me on the porch. Heading out so soon? He asked, yawning, holding 2 mugs of coffee. I forced a smile. Yeah, early flight. He handed me a mug. Evan told me last night he's canceling the engagement. The world tilted. What? Noah sighed, setting his coffee down. He said he couldn't lie anymore. Said there was someone else. My stomach flipped. Did he tell you who? No, he smiled faintly. But whoever it is, I hope they make him happy. He deserves that. He pulled me into a hug, completely unaware that the person Evan loved was standing right in front of him. When I drove away that morning, the sunrise broke over the fields, painting everything gold. I should have felt free, but all I felt was the echo of his kiss. 3 months later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Evan, are you in New York right now? I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Yeah. Why? Evan, because I am too. And I don't want to hide anymore. When I saw him again, it was at a small park near the Hudson River. He looked lighter, maybe because the truth was finally out. The engagement was officially over, and though his family was hurt, they were healing. "I don't have a plan," he said as I approached. "I don't know what happens next. I just know I don't want to live pretending I don't love you." The words melted everything that had been frozen inside me. "I don't either," I said. He smiled, that familiar crooked smile that had haunted every dream. "So what now?" I took his hand, fingers intertwining naturally, perfectly. "Now we start over." He laughed, the sound soft and hopeful. "You sure about this, kid?" I grinned. "I told you, I'm not a kid anymore." He leaned down and kissed me slow and certain this time. No guilt, no fear, just love. The city hummed around us, cars rushing by, strangers laughing. The world spinning as if it hadn't just shifted on its axis. When we finally pulled apart, he looked at me the way people look at home after being lost too long. "Let's not hide anymore," he whispered. And as the morning light spilled across the skyline, I realized something simple, something true. We weren't hiding our truth anymore. We were living it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.